Good morning, dear students. A warm welcome to all of you for our today's digital session for the subject Science and Technology Section A. In our previous session, we have completed with chapter number 3. We have completed with the discussion of textual exercise, additional questions and activities for that chapter. So the time has come to start with a new chapter for section A. Before that, I would just like to ask you whether you remember chapter number 3 of section A last year, current electricity. In that chapter, we have studied about the different concepts, the different physical quantities related to current, electric current. We have studied about electric circuit, the use of fuse, the resistors. So all these terms are known to you, the topics are known to you. So related to that only our chapter number 4 begins for today, a new chapter, effects of electric current. So whatever concepts you have studied last year, somewhere you will see that they are linked with the chapter over here. So the topics which we are going to learn today are energy transfer in an electric circuit and heating effect of electric current. So let us begin with our first topic, energy transfer in an electric circuit. Before starting with the topic, I would just like to highlight what is an electric circuit. I hope you have not forgotten all these terms which we have studied last year. An electric circuit means a continuous path of an electric current through the conducting wires connected to the two ends of a cell and other resistances. We had seen the different components and how they are connected in a circuit. So our first topic is energy transfer in an electric circuit. You can see in this diagram the connection of the circuit. Here you have to measure the current and also the potential difference V between the points A and B, between A and B, that is the two ends of the resistance. Now here you can see that potential A is higher than potential at B. Why? Because point A is connected to the positive terminal or the positive electrode of the cell, and the point B, it is connected to the negative electrode of the cell. So this is our electrical circuit setup. Now you know when a current will be generated, when a charge flows from one point to other. So if a charge Q flows from point A to point B, now when charge flows, work is done. So work, which is equal to potential difference multiplied by charge, that is V multiplied by Q. It has been done on Q while going from point A to point B. The cell gives this energy through the charge. You might be wondering from where the energy is supplied. So the source of energy is the cell, and this cell gives this energy through the charge Q to the resistance where work V multiplied by Q is performed, that is potential difference multiplied by current. Now if the charge Q, it flows from A to B in time t, that is if the work is performed in a particular time t, then during that time the energy VQ is given to the resistor. Now this energy is received by the resistor and it is converted into heat energy, and hence the temperature of the resistor is increased. Now let us see how to calculate the amount of heat generated. So P, that is power, electrical power, is equal to energy upon the total time required. Energy is nothing but the work done. So we multiply by Q upon a particular time T. You all know Q upon T is equal to I. Last year you had studied the concept of electric current. What is electric current? The formula for electric current. So current I is equal to Q upon T, that is some amount of charge flowing through a particular time T. So that is Q upon T is equal to I. So in place of Q upon T you will substitute I. Now how your equation will be? The source of energy, which is this cell, it gives in time T the energy, that is P multiplied by T to the resistor. So if I is the current flowing continuously through the circuit, the heat produced in the resistor will be H. So in place of heat we will take as H is equal to power multiplied by particular time. Now you have derived for power V multiply by I. So V multiply by I multiply by T. Everyone remembers Ohm's law, which we have studied last year. What does the Ohm's law state? If the physical state of a conductor remains constant, the current I flowing through it is directly proportional to the potential difference between its two ends. And we had seen R is equal to V upon I. So that same you are going to apply over here. So according to Ohm's law, V is equal to I into R. So H is equal to V square multiplied by T upon R. Similarly, if you see, the heat generated is equal to I square R into T, that is I multiplied by I, that comes out to I square. So I square RT is nothing but it is called as Joule's law of heating. Actually, what do you mean by this heating effect of electric current? Just I would like to add this information over here. When current flows through a metallic conductor, that is a wire which is made up of metal, the free electrons in the metal, they start moving from the end which is at lower potential. Just recollect the 9th standard syllabus. Now this moving free electrons, what they do? They will collide with the atoms of the metal, and at each collision, a part of the kinetic energy, the energy due to the movement of the electrons, a part of the kinetic energy of the electron, it gets converted into heat, and slowly the temperature of the conductor begins to rise, and thus the production of heat energy in a wire, in a conductor, by the electric current flowing through it is called as heating effect of electric current. See, you keep an electrical appliance on for a particular amount of time. After some time, if you just touch that appliance, it might be an electric bulb, it might be a tube light, you will find it hot. So this heat is generated due to the electric current flowing through it. And how? That I have explained just now. Due to the collision of the electrons, what happens? At every part of collision, kinetic energy gets converted into heat, and slowly the temperature of the wire begins to rise. And this is known as heating effect of electric current, and the law here is called as Joule's law, and the amount of heat generated is I square RT. So in short, how you can state the Joule's law? The quantity of heat H which is generated in a conductor of resistance R, when a current flows through it for a particular time t, it is directly proportional to square of the current, resistance of the conductor, and the time for which the current flows. Even though whatever I am telling you is not a part of your syllabus, but unless and until you understand the base, what is the heating effect of electric current, you won't understand this concept. Now, how to derive the unit of electrical power? Power is what? V multiplied by I, that is potential difference multiplied by current. The unit of potential difference is volt and current is in ampere. So power is equal to volt into ampere. So 1 volt into 1 ampere will be equal to what? What is 1 volt? 1 joule upon 1 coulomb of electric charge. 1 ampere is charge upon time. So 1 coulomb upon 1 second. So 1 coulomb will get cancelled off. So it will be 1 joule upon 1 second, and joule per second is nothing but watt. and hence the unit of electrical power is watt. It might be asked as a MCQ, or unit can be asked in the exam, or it is useful while solving the numerical examples. So I hope you have followed this derivation. Now it can be asked in the exam, this entire derivation they can ask to you, or the circuit diagram they will place ahead of you, and particular places this derivation they will give you in typing with certain places blank. This part will be left blank, or anywhere blank places will be there. That blank places you have to fill and complete the derivation. So you should not learn it, understand how substitutions are done, then you will follow the derivation. Our next topic is heating effect of electric current, which I spoke to you just now. How heat is produced in any wire, in any conductor. A number of electrical appliances you see around you in our day-to-day life which work on this heating effect of electric current. So when a resistor is connected in an electrical circuit, heat is produced in it due to the current, which is known as heating effect of electric current. These are the different appliances which you can see. This is an electric cooker or a toaster which makes use of this concept. Now, equipments such as water boiler or electric cooker, electric bulb, they make use of this heating effect of electric current. Means what? In an electric circuit, the unavoidable heating can increase the temperature of the components, and also they can alter their properties. But however, heating effect of electric current has many useful applications, and these are the different applications of heating effect of electric current. Now we will see the first one, that is electric bulb. This diagram is there in your textbook, in your syllabus. This diagram should be, all the labels should be learned by you. The uses of coil. This diagram can be asked in the exam. The labels can be kept blank and you have to label the blank parts of the electric bulb. A glass support, a screw cap, vacuum or the nitrogen gas, glass bulb, solenoid type coil. Now you can see this is an electric bulb. Now in an electric bulb, it consists of a filament. This filament has to become hot and emit light. So you can see when you just switch on the electric bulb, in the initial stage the light will be very dim, which becomes brighter and brighter when large amount of current flows through it after a due course of time. Why? Because on passage of electric current more and more, the filament becomes hot and emits light. Now this filament, it is made up of a metal with high melting point such as tungsten. Now why tungsten is used here as a metal for making the filament? Because it has a melting point of about 3380 degrees Celsius. It is the melting point of tungsten, and because of the current, the wire, it gets heated to nearly about 3400 degrees Celsius. So if you use any other metal having a low melting point, what will happen? As soon as more amount of current will start flowing through the filament, it will melt down and your bulb will move off. It will be switched off. Hence, a wire or a metal used here for a filament is tungsten, which can be heated up to a very high temperature. And the hot wire, it also radiates heat to a certain extent. Here you can see vacuum or nitrogen gas. The bulbs, they are usually filled with a chemically inactive nitrogen. Here you can see vacuum or nitrogen gas. So inactive nitrogen and argon, which prevents their oxidation gases to prolong the life of the filament. So this is about an electric bulb. Apart from electric bulb, electric iron, which you use in your day-to-day life for ironing clothes, or you can say electric fuse. It is also an application which works on heating effect of electric current. Or in medical science also, medical field, a fine heated platinum wire. It is used for cutting tissues much more efficiently than a knife. So all these are applications of heating effect of electric current, and here electrical conductors having higher resistivity are used. So these are the, you can say, good side or applications, or you can say advantage of heating effect of electric current. Now let us see its other side. What accidents, what mishaps can take place due to excessive flow of current in a circuit? The first is short circuit. In this picture, sometimes you hear about a building catching fire due to short circuit. What is this short circuit in scientific terms? What do we mean by short circuit? How does it occur? That we are going to study in this topic now, a very important topic from the examination point of view. Now, in our house, the home electrical connection, it consists of three types of wire. That is the live wire, neutral wire, and the earth wires. The live and the neutral wire, both of them, they have a potential difference of about 220 volts. It can be asked as an MCQ. And the earth wire, as you all know, you have learned from the lower classes, the earth is connected to the ground. So due to a fault in the equipment, or if the plastic coating on the live and neutral wires give away, then the two wires, means live and neutral wire, if they come in contact with each other and a large current flows through it, producing heat. In other words, we can say if a live and a neutral wire come in direct contact or touch each other, then short circuiting take place. What happens during a short circuit? During a short circuit, the resistance of the circuit, it becomes very small, and hence a huge amount of current flows through it. So in such a case, if any such type of inflammable material such as wood, plastic, etc., it exists around that place, then it can catch fire, and hence to prevent such a short circuit, a fuse wire is always used as a precautionary measure. You all know about the use of a fuse. Why a fuse is used? Because a fuse is a safety device. Fuse is known as a safety device which protects the circuits and appliances by stopping the flow of any excess current. How? The fuse, consists of a piece of wire which is made of an alloy of low melting point. If you take example lead and tin. So if a current larger than the specified value flows through the circuit, what will happen? The temperature of the fuse wire will increase. This melts the fuse wire and breaks the circuit, and in this way your electrical appliances can be saved from catching fire. So you can see over here, as soon as high current flows in a circuit, the fuse wire melts and breaks the circuit. And here you can see in this diagram, in this picture, different types of fuses which are in use in our houses. After that, our next topic is overloading. Overloading, the word itself tells you, somewhere it is nothing but the flow of large amount of current in the circuit beyond the permissible value of current. You can see in this picture, so many appliances are plugged in one circuit. Every electric circuit, it has a certain limit to allow the passage of current, and then if this limit is exceeded, then what will happen? Surely more amount of current, large amount of current will flow. So this usually happens if many electrical appliances of high power rating such as geyser, heater, motor, oven, air conditioners, they are switched on simultaneously at the same time. And usually it happens in the evenings. Huge electrical power is used in the evenings due to home lighting, fans, ACs, use of electricity in the shops. During the daytime, there is sunlight, so the tube lights and all, they do not work during the daytime, which especially is seen working during the evening, during the night time. What happens? As a result, excessive current is drawn from the transformer which supplies the electricity, and if the capacity of the transformer is insufficient, its fuse wire melts and the supply gets shut down, which is known as overloading. Now, this overloading can even cause fire. So, how you can avoid this overloading? You can avoid this overloading by not connecting many appliances at the same time in the circuit. This figure only tells you how many electrical appliances are plugged in at the same time. And then if the electrical appliances are of high power rating means the electrical appliances which require a large amount of power for their operation. AC, if air conditioners work for a large amount of time, you get a very large amount of electricity bill. Why? Because it draws more power, more amount of power is required for its working. Geysers, heaters, they all require high amount of power, and all these appliances, if they are switched on at the same time, then overloading can take place, and you can avoid that only by not connecting many appliances at the same time in a single circuit. With this, we complete with our first topic of the chapter, that is heating effect of electric current. Now, the solved examples which are given below this topic, immediately we will go through both of them, because in your textbook there are 4 solved examples, 2 on page number 50 and 2 on page number 51. Out of the 4, first and the second example on page number 50, they are removed out from the education department. They are the part of your reduced syllabus. So we will just revise or go through example number 3 and 4. Let us see how the formulae which we have studied are applied over here. So example number 3, an electrical iron uses a power of 1100 watt when set to a higher temperature. If set to lower temperature, it uses 330 watt power. Electric iron, which is used for ironing the clothes, it uses a power of 1100 watts when it is set to a higher temperature, but if it is set to a lower temperature, then it uses 330 watts power. Find out the electric current and the respective resistances for the two settings. The iron is connected to a potential difference of about 220 volts. First, as usual, we will see what is given. Potential difference is given as 220 volts. Power, they have given two values. So one we will give as A and the other we will label as B. So first power is 1100 watts, other is 330 watt. By taking the first power rate into account, that is 1100 watt, you all know P is equal to V multiplied by I. You have to find the electric current. So two electric currents you have to find out because two cases are there. So we will take I1 and I2. So in the first case, I1 is equal to P upon V, and in the second case, I2 is equal to P upon V. What is your first value of power? 1100 watts. Potential difference is same in both the cases. So 1100 divided by 220, you get 5 and it is current. So your unit will be amperes. For the second case, power is 330 watts. So I2 is equal to P upon V. 330 divided by 220. Answer is 1.5 amperes. Now you have found out the electric current for both the settings. Now you have to find out the value of R, that is the respective resistances. So all of you know Ohm's law. We have studied about Ohm's law. So in that, R is equal to V upon I. So here there are two values which we have to find out. So R1 and R2 and I1 and I2 should be taken into account. So R1 is equal to V upon I1, R2 is equal to V upon I2. V is constant in both the cases. So 220 upon I1 value you have got as 5. So 220 divided by 5, 44 ohms. Now as it is resistance, your unit will be ohms. Similarly in the second case, V upon I2. So 220 upon I2 is what? 1.5. So answer is 146 ohms. In this way, the numerical examples can be asked in the exam. Now, this sum can be asked for 3 marks, or if they want to reduce the marks, reduce it to 2 marks, then they will only ask you to find out the electric current for both the settings. They won't ask you the resistances. So, depending upon the marks, they will ask it in the exam. Next example, very simple, example number 4. An electric tungsten bulb is connected into a home circuit. The home electric supply runs at 220 volt potential difference. When switched on, a current of 0.45 amperes. So potential difference is given as 220 volts. Current I they have given as 0.45 amperes. It flows through the bulb. What must be the power of the bulb? If it is kept on for 10 hours, how many units of electricity will be consumed? First thing, you will have to calculate power. Very simple. Potential difference is given. Current is given. You know the formula for power. V multiply by I. So potential difference multiply by current. Substitute the values. 220 multiply by 0.45. 99 watt is the power. So the bulb is of the power 99 watt. They have asked us what must be the power of the bulb. So the power of the bulb must be 99 watts. Now if this is kept on for 10 hours, so in 10 hours, time is 10 hours. So 99 watt multiply by time. So power multiply by time, that comes out to 990 watt hour, or if you divide by 1000, 0.99 kilowatt hour. Last year you have studied about kilowatt hours and all under the topic of power in chapter number 2. So 0.99 kilowatt hour will be the amount of electricity that will be consumed in 10 hours. With this, we complete with the discussion of solved examples for the first topic. Our next topic is very, very important, magnetic effect of electric current. What do you mean by magnetic effect of electric current? You can see here photograph of Hans Christian Ørsted. He was a scientist who worked in the 19th century and he played an important role in understanding electromagnetism. What do you understand by the term electromagnetism? Now this physics professor or scientist who was doing experiments with some of the electrical equipments, he saw that when current was passed, then a nearby compass needle, it got deflected, and what he realized, what he inferred, that it was the electric current which was producing magnetism. Look at the diagram which I have placed over here. Here you have to, the circuit is connected, as you can see here in the figure. You have to connect a copper wire which is thicker and straight as compared to the connecting wires between points A and B. You have to keep a magnetic needle adjacent to the wire. Keep the plug key open in the circuit and observe the direction of the needle. What will you notice? That the needle will get deflected in the direction of the flow of current. If you interchange the connecting wires which is connected to the cell, you can see in the first case current is flowing in this direction. In the second case current is flowing in the opposite direction. Do you notice? And then if you observe the direction of the magnetic needle, you can see here the direction which is changed according to the flow of current. So from this he realized that it was the electric current which was producing magnetism, and this concept he termed as electromagnetism. So magnetic effect is observed because of the current in the wire. With this, Ørsted he pointed out the relation between electricity and magnetism, and his work, you can say research in this field proved to be extremely important in the field of physics. So which are the instruments, which are the devices which work on this concept of electromagnetism? What is this magnetic effect of electric current? That we are going to study in details in our next session. So before you attend our next session, kindly go through the different topics. The different rules are there which we have to study. We have to study about the electric motor, electric generator. So kindly go through the topics. Thank you from my side. See to it that your books are completed, because already our portion for the second online assessment is over. This chapter which we have started today, we are going to continue, because we are in the 10th standard, so we won't wait with the completion of portion for your particular exam. We are preparing for the board exams, and accordingly we will move on with our syllabus. But you see that, as I have told you in the beginning also, each and every exam is your step towards the success for your board exams, and take it in a very serious way. So see to it that your notebooks are completed, the topics are understood by you, diagrams, numerical examples, practice should be go on regularly, and study and reading is a must when it comes to science. So that's all for today. Stay at home, stay safe, keep studying, and keep revising each and every topic. Thank you, dear children.